I had a friend growing up that lived in the middle of nowhere. Nothing but miles of forest on every side. Me and my buddy would go gallivanting through the woods in the evening and through the night. One night, we were messing around in the woods as usual. There was another friend with us too. It must have been around midnight when we started hearing a weird noise. We could tell that something was walking around maybe 200 feet away from us. Pretty far away, but it was so quiet, we could hear it moving. We grouped up together and were dead silent. We all knew something was off without saying a thing to each other. I can still feel the chills today. We stood there for what felt like 30 minutes, barely even breathing. Several minutes had gone by with us not hearing a thing. I was scanning the woods around us, desperately trying to locate the thing that was walking around. I was afraid that it was a person trying to mess with us or hurt us. I was not sure if we were on someone else's property or not. It was dead silent. I'm talking quieter than quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat in this silence. Out of nowhere, an ear-shattering screech exploded out of the silence. It was like nothing I had ever heard before. It sounded like it was coming from every direction. It was deep too, not like a bird. It sounded like it came from something huge. We bolted, immediately without so much as looking at each other. I ran so fast. I was smashing through branches and small trees. My face was getting absolutely destroyed by branches. There was so much adrenaline coursing through my body, it felt like I was flying. Couldn't even feel my feet hit the ground. It must have been about a quarter-mile run back to the house. We all made a break for the garage after getting out of the woods. My third friend immediately collapsed onto the floor once we made it into the garage. He started sobbing uncontrollably, murmuring a prayer to himself. That's when I really started freaking out, because it validated that I was not the only one that heard that. We were an absolute wreck the rest of the night. The third friend refused to ever go back. I hung out there a few times after that, but never went back out into the woods during the night. That experience has made me extremely on edge anytime I'm in the woods. Had nightmares about it for about a year after. Still have no idea what it was. A person messing with us, a skinwalker, or some other kind of entity. Back in the summer of 2012, my mom, my aunt, and I were hanging out on the couch, standard routine, watching the show Heroes. Everything was completely normal until the episode we were right in the middle of suddenly restarted from the very beginning out of nowhere. Confused, I asked my mom what happened. She just looked at me and said, "I haven't seen this episode yet." I assumed she just hadn't been paying attention, and I already knew my aunt was tuned out. But then, it happened again. We reached a certain point in the episode, and it snapped right back to the start. When I questioned her a second time, she repeated the exact same phrase, word for word. "I haven't seen this episode yet." That's when panic set in. I felt like I was losing my mind. From there, things took a turn for the worse. Random scenes started looping over and over. Every single time I tried to break through to my mom, she would just repeat, "I haven't seen this episode yet," or ask, "Why are you acting so weird?" Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, the next episode finally started playing. I felt a wave of relief, thinking whatever glitch or nightmare I was stuck in had finally ended. But the second the new episode began, it abruptly cut right back to the previous one. I broke down crying, begging and pleading with my mom to understand what was happening, but she just turned to me with that same blank response. "I haven't seen this episode yet." Defeated and terrified, I retreated to my bedroom, cried myself to sleep, and woke up the next morning to a completely normal day. When I spoke to my mom, she just mentioned that I had gone to bed early and had been acting strange the night before. Ever since that night, I've carried a deep, lingering terror of getting trapped in another time loop. I still have no idea what actually happened to me that summer, but I hope with everything I have that I never experience anything like it again. This was a story that my friend from Boy Scouts told me last year. He said that when he lived in Colorado, when he was younger, his brother and his parents lived in the Rockies, like just a remote house from the 50s. In the middle of the Rockies, he showed us on Google Maps, and it was decently close to Vail, Colorado. His parents bought a house from an old redneck from Arkansas. This dude had owned the property since '87, and it was originally a mining town up there, with a big lake and a river. The lake and river will come into play later. The house was in front of the lake, and the river was behind the lake. He said it was about 10 miles of gravel road from the nearest house. And keep in mind, my friend was only 7. My friend's family, who ill just called the Wilsons, moved into this house in 2015. And as soon as they walked into the house, the parents got high on brownies around 7 or so, and around 9 or so the parents fell asleep, and my friend, Kai, and his brother Loki were still awake. My friend Kai, out of curiosity, because it was completely silent outside, like no sounds at all, looks out the window and sees the lake. Then he looks at the river and doesn't see anything at first, but then he saw the silhouette of a figure. He described it as a goat, a human, and a deer, like a combination of those things. I have no clue, but it scared the crap out of us. He then went and told his brother Loki, and he looked outside and started running to his parents' room screaming, and tried to wake them up, but they were knocked out cold. So Kai calms down his brother and puts him to sleep in a windowless room such as the kitchen. So Loki has fallen asleep at this point, and he looks outside and sees the figure again, and it's in the exact same position. So he thinks it may just be a tree, but it starts walking through the river it was standing in. But in the direction of the house that Kai was in now, at this point, he got a better look at it, and it had the legs of a goat with a human-looking chest, with goat hair and human arms, as well as a goat head with deer antlers that were red and pulsating, like they were hearts beating. Now, this understandably scared the crap out of him, and he hid in one of the moving boxes that had a couch inside of it. So this 7-year-old kid is being watched by what looks like a demon and is hiding in a moving box, so you can understand how scary that is. Now he did the only logical thing to do at that age. After about 5 minutes of waiting, he went to his parents' room and tried to wake them up. But like earlier, they were knocked out cold. He looked out the window again and didn't see anything and paced, trying to find a way to hide. Because Kai was terrified, made a pallet next to his brother in the kitchen, which is a windowless room, and almost fell asleep. Then he heard a loud bam coming from the makeshift dumpster that the redneck they bought it from built. That trash can weighed as much as a minivan. Now note that there was a window facing the TRS can. But Kai did not look through, because he was too busy crying in the little pile of blankets that he was sleeping on. Now we are going to fast forward to the morning after the sleepless night Kai went through. His parents had finally woke up, and Kai told them what had happened. They laughed at him and went to the store and get food. As they walked out, they saw the trash can grab the kids and their stuff and left. At the time he was telling us this, he had moved to Texas and was surrounded by other Boy Scouts from many different troops in summer camp, and he was still shaking uncontrollably. We all went to sleep like an hour later.